Today, we're going to talk about how the potential TikTok ban is going to impact independent artists and producers. Is your music business safe? Let's talk about it.
Arkatech Beatz.
What's up, everybody? It's the Arkatech Beatz Music Business Podcast. We are platinum producers, Arkatech Beatz. I'm Juggernaut.
I am Mike Trauma D.
And together we make the super duper group, Arkatech Beatz. If it's your first time here, just make sure you're clicking that subscribe button, like, comment, whatever you got to do. Welcome to the channel. Welcome to the podcast. Every week we kind of get together and we talk about different things that are impacting the music business and basically trying to show artists and producers how to navigate this crazy music business in the new days, right? So last week, everybody's been talking about how a potential ban for TikTok, right? We saw Congress take the CEO and grill him on a whole bunch of questions. And the main thing is they're talking about privacy and data. It's a risk because they think that it's the data from TikTok is going to China or something like that. And that's really where the situation is. But you know and I know that these social media platforms have been collecting data forever. So I don't know what the real situation with this is. But what we want to talk about is how will it impact the artists and producers? Like, this is like a main driver for music right now. So, let's talk about it, and then let's talk about some of the things that artists and producers could be doing to make sure that when these type of things happen, they're not impacted as heavily by it.
Man, Jug, we've been talking about this for quite a while, though. When you're relying totally on social media to run your business, it's not, you're giving the keys to your business to somebody else, and if they decide to, shut things down for whatever reason, it kind of leaves you out in the cold. So you got to have a backup plan, you got to have your own. And we've always been stressing the value of owning, whether it's masters or just, outright owning your business or just entrepreneur, anything having to do with that. Having your own and calling the shots. If you don't own, then you don't, you're privy to just, getting kicked out, basically. So if, for example, if your music, your business is online on a social media platform, and the people who run this platform, if they don't like what you're saying, they don't like what you're doing, they have full control over what's actually getting posted, what are people actually seeing, and you're doing all of this and doing all of that, posting, making content, and nothing's happening, and they're in the background in control of the algorithm. It's definitely a hard thing to move forward with when it comes to your business. So we've always stressed that, you need to have your own website. You need to put all of your products, your music, whatever you're getting involved in, you need to have it on your own site and have a one-on-one relationship with your consumers, because that's the only way you're going to survive if social media platforms, whether it be a TikTok or any other, decides to pull the plug. How do you get in contact with your consumers? How do you continue business?
And that's always been the big issue. The big issue is that we've been putting all of our, they call it real estate, in the hands of the social media platforms, where you're supposed to control your own real estate. That you got to control your own storefront. You have to control it. The thing with TikTok, which is probably going to be a big situation, is they're saying there's 150 million users in the United States. They're saying a lot of small businesses are using TikTok to grow their businesses, and this is true, right? I do think that over time, I think that the YouTube Shorts will become the secondary place for that, where they'll take that type of content, and I think YouTube will start to kind of perfect the algorithm and kind of get it to mirror what TikTok is or was. But at the same time, it goes back to what we were saying. It's like you can't depend on any one of these mediums, as like the core of your business. Like things change. Like if you're talking about all those folks who had that were using the pixels and everything with the Apple iOS for Facebook, and when that privacy thing changed for the Apple iOS system,
Hmm.
it impacted so many e-commerce stores, and people were saying, hey, they were losing so much money because again, you're using one medium to make your bread. It's like you have to kind of make sure that, okay, if you're using Facebook ads, what if Facebook no longer becomes prevalent? Then
Right.
what? Right.
That's almost like the situation with the OnlyFans when for a moment they just was like, that's enough. We cutting this out, and everybody
Right.
was like was doing that for their main.
Nervous.
Yeah. So they
So
missed
so
the
you
point.
so you gotta say, okay, when people decide that they want to pull the plug, how can you pivot? And that's part of that's what the situation is. And like, okay, do you have enough of your customer data to even market and promote when that happens? Um, and these platforms are changing every day. You're watching them change. You're watching the potential ban on TikTok, right? Then you're watching the verification situation with Meta. You're watching the verification situation with Twitter. All of these things are changing. The things that used to be at the forefront, of the things that used to drive people's businesses, or the things that used to make people validated online, those things are being removed. And you got to get back to hardcore marketing and real promotion, and developing real relationships and bringing real value to your folks, or you're gonna get left out in the cold.
But before we even go into that direction, if you notice that, these platforms, uh, for the most part, that you're doing business, you won't get the data. You won't get the email addresses. You won't get all of these things that you need in order to successfully market your product to the consumer. So, and it's very discouraging. You put your product, on these platforms, and you don't get the information. They get the information. They get the information. They keep the information, and they use that information. So they basically use your own product that you've uploaded or given them to sell, and they use your information to help them market other people's items as well as their own. So it's like, here you are as a business person, and you put out your product, you put it on their platform, and you're almost a test dummy in a sense. You know, it's
It's
it,
it's a great business model, man. From the other side,
yeah, yeah,
if you
but
think about it.
it sucks for you because you don't get the information. You don't get the things that you need. So you have to have your own website where you could collect the data and collect the information so you can retarget your consumers. So you can know who's who, you can know which areas, what age bracket, you know, who is interested in your product. And without that information, your business is pretty much useless if you don't know who your audience is.
Right, then you kind of shooting in the dark. Like I'm just sitting there, I'm looking at this situation now, and I'm saying to myself, like, okay, how many artists are getting discovered on this platform?
Hmm.
But remember, we're talking about it because it's driven by music and sounds. So how many new artists, how much new music is being discovered on this platform now that's going to be potentially wiped out, right? And then, I'm surprised the labels aren't kicking up a whole bunch of dust, right? Like behind that. Like I'm surprised they're not like lobbying and saying, "Hey, you can't ban this. It's going to create a crater in the ecosystem. Like you can't do this at this point." Um,
Hmm.
but but for artists and producers now, the, it goes back to what we were saying. Is these are promotional tools. You can't depend on one promotional tool only. Like you can't. You have to spread out your effort across all social media platforms. Of course, one may be more effective than the other, but
Hmm.
if you're in a situation where you cannot handcuff yourself to a potential sinking ship, you just can't do that. Like that's really career suicide if we really look at it. So I'm thinking now what artists are going to have to do in this situation is now they're going to have to move over to another platform. One that's the one that does stand out is Isaac Hayes the third. His platform, fan base, which in my opinion is very, very revolutionary. It's a platform that I think is really like what the future looks like for content creators.
Right.
But people have to really understand, like really, you have to understand that you have to monetize every portion of your content, and I think that app does it. That application does it very well, from what I'm seeing.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's a and what's dope about it also is how you could just migrate
Existing content.
your existing content from one platform right over so you don't miss a beat. So that's
Genius.
kudos to Isaac Hayes, man. Like he really thought that through, and some of the things that you would have to go through to get your page going. So to get that jump start, you were able to migrate it over like that. That was dope.
And no suppression.
Right. Right. So
whatever fans you get and you post to, that's what you're gonna get.
right.
No suppression. So folks have to kind of look at it for really what it is. Like, but again, that's an alternative.
Right.
Not saying it's the end all be all, but it's
Right.
an alternative, and that's what's out there. And people have to look for alternatives if you want to make sure that you can continue to stay afloat. I think that's really like the main thing when we talk about our situations, is always being able to kind of pivot. Like, okay, we've been through this before. We've been through the MySpaces. Like, we've been through that when these things are hot like fish grease, and then all of a sudden just implode. One day it's hot, and the next minute it's just like,
Right.
it's gone.
It's gone. Yeah. And then what happens? What happens to your content? What happens to those business contacts? What happens? And if you don't have any type of records or data, you start all over from scratch, all that hard work for nothing.
I also see that there's a movement going on that's saying that if folks decide to ban TikTok,
Mhm.
that everyone is basically blaming Zuckerberg for that, for him lobbying against it, and they're basically deleting their Instagram and their Facebook off of their phones.
Yeah, but then you're hurting your own business. If you don't have if you don't have something set up, infrastructure set up for your business, and you're just going to go ahead and do that out of emotion, you're going to hurt yourself in the long run. So before, folks are just, getting angry and being emotional, make sure your infrastructure for your business is set up so that it can handle a hit like that.
I would assume that it wouldn't be those folks who are running business that would be deleting their Instagram, Facebook.
Man, I hope not.
I don't think it'd be them.
I hope not.
I think it's gonna be those folks who are like, just like casual social media consumers. Like, I don't think that real business folks are gonna delete those. That's the engine at this point.
I mean, I hope not, man. But as we've been in this for a long time, and people make some strange decisions sometimes, man, and uh, losing deals because of bad decisions they've made. So still got to put that out there.
And then the thing about this whole, there's some theories about the ban, and the theories about the ban is saying that the ban is being motivated because of the simple fact that TikTok is basically eating up all the advertising dollars.
Uh-huh.
I said that's really where the issue is. The issue is Facebook and Google basically had a monopoly on basically social media ads.
Okay.
And they said now with TikTok is eating their lunch. And they were saying, okay, how do we get these advertising dollars back into our engine? So, for a period, Trump was trying to ban it, if everyone remembers that, and they refused Trump from banning it.
Right.
So, now that she's not in office, and I think Congress just passed something where the president has the unilateral control to ban a social media platform without any court ruling. The court can't get involved, so he kind of can just do it unilaterally.
Word.
Yeah, I I saw someone online and they were pulling some congressman's investment portfolios because I guess
Mhm.
those things are public.
Right.
And then when you see that they're all invested in Google, Alphabet,
Yeah. Yeah.
you know what I'm saying,
That
Facebook.
that
So
sounds about right.
that's their largest holdings. So these folks at this point,
They have a vested interest.
yeah, I, I I would hate to say it, but there's a good chance this thing might get banned, man. They wouldn't let Trump do it, but now that everything is switched,
Mhm.
they might just let him do it.
Well, it just goes back to just making sure you're on the right side of the fence when it hits the fan. Making sure that, you have your ducks in order. If you're doing everything on one platform alone, or your business is entirely on TikTok, or entirely just on Facebook, or entirely just on, you know, you, I've seen some businesses that are only on maybe one or two streaming services.
Yeah,
Like I've seen some businesses that's not on Twitter, and you still can't ignore Twitter.
no,
You can't ignore Twitter. And I spoke with someone, and they didn't have a Twitter account, and I had kind of advised them, like, listen, you don't want to just be on one or two. You want to make sure that you're utilizing all your tools, because there is an age bracket that, like, when it comes to Twitter. When it comes to Twitter, there is a certain age that kind of rocks with Twitter. There's a certain following that for Twitter, and you miss out on that whole demographics when you just focus strictly on IG, or even Facebook. You miss out on the whole uh, target audience. So you can't just exclude it, when you're doing business. So that's something to think about. There's certain platforms that's, just a certain group or a certain set of people are going to gravitate to, and you don't want to lose out. So, make sure you utilizing all tools that are available.
I agree with that. I've been watching it for a while, and people were saying, oh, Twitter's a dead platform, and I was like,
Nah.
it morphed into something else, right? It had turned into a very um, journalistic information, breaking news, trending topics, and it was driving the news cycle for a very long time.
Right.
So it became where news was being broken.
Mhm.
Um, and then now with Elon taking over, I think it's going to slowly kind of get back to its own prominence in its own time. You just have to just give it some time to get where it got to get in terms of more of the media that you can add to it in terms of like videos and so forth and so on. I think those are all making it a better platform.
Right.
Um, I think Instagram, you can't count it out. You definitely can't count out Facebook at any point.
Right.
Um, and then when we're talking about shorts, you can't. That's on fire right now for people who want to grow their YouTube. So I think what we're going to be looking at for artists and producers is really taking a balanced approach to socials.
Hmm.
And yeah, it's going to be a lot of work because you're going to have to post on different mediums. And what I'm learning is that you can't even really use third party apps to post across platforms because it kind of limits the reach.
Hmm.
Don't ask me how they know. They
It's
know
it's an algorithm thing. They know when you're not posting directly to the
from
platform.
from the platform, so they know that you're not posting exactly from the app. So
Right.
when you're not posting directly from the app, then that creates a situation where some of your stuff may not get the reach that it's supposed to have.
Right.
So I've seen that in our own situation. So you are going to have to carve out time to create socials. You are going to have to carve out time to post socials, or you're going to have to relegate it to a social media manager, which of course can cost. So if you don't have that, and you're going to have to engage with your folks.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
That's
that's a whole nother conversation that you got to engage with your people, and that's if you're not engaging with your folks, then the algorithm most likely won't reward you, and I've seen that too. So like socials have become almost a full-time job for some people if they're not if
yeah.
you're not if you're not careful.
That joint is full time. It's, you gotta pretty much be on call. You know, when when people post, you need to respond. You want to respond in a certain period of time. You want to, people have questions, and it's the same. It's the same thing in comments on for your products and stuff like that. They want to make sure that there's a live person there, that somebody did. That this isn't just some AI or just this is a real company that cares about its consumers. So you have to be involved. You have to communicate and respond. And you know the scary thing is that not every consumer is going to be a good consumer. You're going to have frustrated consumers, or consumers who don't read or follow directions or do what they're supposed to do, and want to blame it on you. And you got to be able to kind of just you know uh try and make it right somehow. And even in those scenarios, you know how it is. If you're a business owner, you understand. You know how it is. You get those phone calls or those emails or those DMs, because somebody who didn't do what they were supposed to do. Somebody doesn't know how to click a link. Somebody doesn't know how to type in a code properly. Somebody doesn't know how to just read the fine print. Somebody doesn't know, oh, where's the song? I didn't see it. It's in your inbox. Did you check your spam box? That could happen too. Oh yeah. Oh, it's there. Sorry, I didn't mean to call you these names. And you're just like, you just gotta just no problem. Just it's the downs of doing business and customer service, and we all get it. So just a heads up on when it comes to doing business as an entrepreneur and what to expect.
We're talking about this potential TikTok ban, folks, and how it may impact independent artists and producers. It's a huge situation. I think we'll probably wind up hearing something from Congress before the end of the month.
What's your take on some of this verification stuff in regards to these social media platforms now? There's a lot of things that are changing.
Yeah, that's another thing. I think I think it's good in some regard, and I think it's bad in other regards. But what made verification good is that you were able to identify who you were dealing with, right?
Mm-hmm.
It made sure that the person that you're talking to was authentic, and the person that was the real person they said who they said they were.
Okay.
Also, but remember what verification also did. Verification started to become a way to create kind of a tier system.
Okay.
Right, which is I'm important and you're not.
Popularity contest.
There you go. So and then it didn't. The thing with verification on some platforms is it didn't work the way it needed to work. Meaning, let's say we're talking about Twitter.
Mm-hmm.
Twitter in the beginning, if you were like a musician or something like that, you had a process where you could become verified through a certain process early on. If you had releases and so forth and so on.
Mm-hmm.
Now Twitter became a situation where the only people that seemed to be getting verified were journalists.
Mm-hmm.
And people who were attached to media outlets, quote unquote. Right? So those folks seem to have gotten, verification. And once they were given verification, their messages were being amplified.
Right,
wrong, or indifferent.
Right.
So I think when we talk about that type of verification situation, that creates a problem, because now certain people have voices and certain people don't.
And then who controls those verifications?
Exactly. And there was never a fair balance in who got verified, right? Because now we're dealing with the situation where, like they say, for example, if you're dealing with Instagram and those folks, verification, they had to decide if you were notable or not. And they had to have the parameters of what was notable. So let's say, for example, you were a Black artist that was highlighted on a lot of Black media. They may not consider that to be notable in their eyes, right? They may say that's Black media. It's not what it needs to be.
Right.
Right. And This is the problem. The problem is that now you're creating again another type of tier system. You've got gatekeepers basically saying who we want to influence culture, because let's not act like the verification of folks didn't influence culture. It does. It influences what people were doing, whether it was, you know, political campaigns or whatever, where more people of a blue check status was verified and was amplifying that message.
Right.
It reached further. So
It's
I think what
disgusting. It's disgusting to think about it.
so when you think about what Elon and them is doing, he's saying basically no more, right? No more of that. There's no more system of elites now. That system, now everybody can have it.
Right.
All right. So now your voice is going to be muted a little bit more, but if you really put in the work and you really are a person that is notable and does have a following, of course,
it'll stand on its own.
It stand on its own.
Right.
And I think that's what needed to happen, especially if we're talking about in the Instagram space. Like the verification was leaning toward, you know, OnlyFans folks, and like that type of thing was being, because they can run their followers can run up a lot faster than anybody else's.
Right. And that's pretty much the cheat code.
Yeah, like if you show your backside a few times.
Yeah, you're half naked.
Yeah,
you're gonna run up real quick.
You're gonna run your numbers up real fast.
Yeah.
Or if you just what's the thing that I'd be noticing too? Folks be like doing housework in yoga pants, or
washing the dishes
in yoga pants, painting in yoga pants. That
all the sexual,
all that type of foolishness, and then people flock to it, and all of a sudden these people had these insurmountable followings based off of just kind of a gimmick, But hey, I'm not knocking the hustle, but
but that's enough for verification. That's all.
That's what was making them notable. You get it? They because of the attention that they were able to garner on the platform. But if you think about it from a business standpoint, it made sense. Give the verification to the people who were bringing in the most eyes. Right? It makes sense from a business aspect. Like, okay, we want to verify the people who are bringing in the most traffic. Like, this is the reality of it. And we want to make them feel special so they continue to post on the platform. Now, if they don't feel special, they're not going to sit on this platform no more. Like, you know what I mean?
What happens? So what happens when everyone is paying for it now? Like,
I wouldn't see now. That's the thing. When now that everybody pays for it, now we have to see if you're really important.
Right.
Now we have to go look and see, okay, is what this person really doing? Like, did you really do something significant?
So you got to look past the verification.
Right.
Now you got to actually look at what the credits, look at what the person is doing.
Who is this person for real?
So it's the same as removing verifications, giving it
basically
verifications.
Right. It's the same because and then you'll have people, and look at the psychology of it. Mm-hmm. The psychology of it is already that I shouldn't be verified because I'm not anybody. Right? Like, I'm not notable enough. I didn't do anything to get verified. So those folks aren't going to seek verification.
Right.
Because it doesn't support who they think that they are.
And, and then there's going to be another group that's, not going to be able to keep up with that type of payment. Regardless of how small it is,
right.
There's people who just don't have
$15 a month.
Their infrastructure set up in order for that to continuously be in play. So there's that part too.
That's the situation. That's what you're dealing with. You're looking at that too. I think some people can't afford it. I think it's another way for Facebook to get the money that's bleeding.
Right.
Meta's bleeding. Meta's bleeding, like really bleeding. And I think how you can save Meta is for what's his name to just step down.
Is that correct?
Yeah, it's because he's disliked, and
Huh.
he makes the platform feel like it's not cool. So what happens is just step down, put another corporate show, you know, in
Mhm.
in place of it to make it feel like it's more hip or whatever. And then, you still control the strings in the background. Just don't be the face of it anymore. And then let that help with the rebranding of the meta, and it'll catch
Yeah.
back on. It's not going anywhere.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, it's not going anywhere. I just think that, people have connected him with some sort of like
You see it.
evil
Yeah.
evil sorcerer.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I see. I
Like,
see. You see the comments all the time. Like,
yeah,
wow.
they don't like him. So when you have somebody that's ahead of a say, well, it was Elon Musk. People like Elon Musk, which is weird, right? Like, they like Elon, but seem to like this guy. So whatever it is that they don't, they praise Elon. He's a genius. He's gonna take it to the moon, whatever. But
Right.
they don't like the other guy, and you know it is what it is. Like, you just, you want your company to die because you don't want to relinquish you being the face of it. Like, what I'm saying? Like, trust me, man. People can. It's like it's still not too. It's not big enough that it can't fail. It still can fail. People can turn it back on it, and also they did a lot of stuff with that election stuff, like how with the Twitter file show, like a lot of social media platforms are doing a lot of stuff with the election and have turned a lot of people away from these social media platforms. That's another reason why they're failing, is
Right.
because they ostracize half the country.
So with the changing of social media platforms with everything that's going on, and adding this pay verification, you feel it's going to be something that's going to be more helpful to us as entrepreneurs, business owners, music producers, artists.
I think for music producers in our situation, I think there's nothing greater as music producers, artists, whatever. There's nothing better than being able to pay your way through.
Because it cuts out all of the gatekeeper, cuts out all of the, your agenda.
Yep.
Just listen, I paid for this.
I pay for it. I
Go to
get me through.
get me through.
You know what I'm saying?
And let the people do,
And let the people decide what it is.
right.
And that's what I think. And that's what I think is necessary. It's like, remember what was happening when we came up in the era of gatekeeping.
Yeah.
If you didn't know such and such, if you didn't grease that palm, if you didn't, if they just
If you
didn't
did,
like you,
if you didn't fit within the agenda,
yeah,
if the A&R didn't get some of your publishing in some
yeah,
cases,
yeah, like you had to go through all of those hurdles. Now it's just pay.
yeah, pay and
Now,
get through, yeah, and
now
put me in front, yeah,
yeah, if you can't find the money to get through, that's really on you, right? You can't find the money, but at least, some people will say that's another hurdle. Why can't it just, it makes it more equitable. But some people will say that's not equitable either because I don't have the access to capital like other people might have.
but then you got to pay to play. I mean, that's just,
This is the game.
if you leave it up to skill and talent, for a lot of people, that's objective.
And yeah, that's another thing. That's
You
real.
know, you could be, you could consider yourself skillful and talented in your craft, but the others may look at it like that ain't nothing. That's weak, you
Yeah,
know.
that's
And
real.
if the gatekeeper is the one that's saying that, then you ain't got no shot. There's no way your stuff gonna get out there if the gatekeeper feels a certain way about you and your talent.
That's real.
So it
I
might
mean,
just be easier to be like, yo, here's my $10, my $15, and you go sit over there. Let me go handle my business. Let me go talk to the consumers.
that's real, man. Like, I see that being the situation. Like, honestly, I see that being uh it's real, man. Like, it's
So now,
it's a real situation.
so now with those type of verifications, um, are those posts, are they now VIP? Are they placed in certain areas? Because now you still have somebody running that situation. How do we know that okay, after we paid our money, how do we know if it's getting in front of the right amount of people? How do you know?
You don't know. You will never know.
Because it's their platform and they do what the
Because
hell
it's
they
their
want to do.
platform and they do
Again, we go
whatever
right
the
back.
hell they want. So again, for a long time, for a long time, I used to say to you, like, hey, we running these ads, we running this, so forth and so on. And I used to see these things in the feeds and stuff, and I say to you, I say, yo, Mike, I think these are fake platforms. I think it's a fake. I think it's a fake profiles.
Yeah.
I said, I think these are generated images. And I was saying this for years. I've been saying this way before this AI shit is popping now in Mid-Journey and all of this shit. And you could just put a prompt in and get a certain kind of face, and you won't even know that it's, you can make Street Fighter characters in the bar.
Yeah.
And it would be real. You know what I'm saying? It would be a
Right,
photo,
right.
and you'd be like, wait a minute, that's really Ken. That's really real inside of the bar. And I'm just like, I'm like, everybody's like, yo, this technology. I think this has existed in the background for maybe the last decade. And I think that when they were running their ads, whether it be Alphabet or whoever else running your ads, they were using that to kind of pad the numbers. Like you got to these people, but they just didn't click. They didn't like they didn't like your offer, or maybe your ad wasn't good enough, or maybe something. So I just think like this whole thing is like, it's capitalism. I think there's a lot of cap in it. I think there's a lot of lying. I think
You better go deep into the rabbit hole.
Yeah, I don't really think. Listen. I don't. Why would we make it honest? When have they ever made it honest? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, why? They've always had a thumb on the proverbial scale. So why would they make it honest now? Like, oh, you got verified, so now we're gonna put your stuff in front of people. No, you're not. You still gotta pay for that. Like, you gotta pay for the verification. And if you want to get in front of people, you gotta pay for ads.
Sure.
And the only way that you know that your ads are working is if it goes to a third-party site and they can collect the data for you.
Right. But that also feels just like streaming royalties.
It's the same.
Record company royalties, when they're giving you the accounting of your record being sold, and you're like, how do I know this is even true? Like, the person who's supposed to pay you is giving you the accounting. That's why it really goes back to what we said in the beginning of this show. You got to have your own situation set up. So you got to collect those emails yourself. That's the only way you're gonna know.
That's the only way you're gonna know. And I look at this situation like this, like what really started to drive the message home to me was like how you see sneaker replicas. You go online, you want Off-White, you want, Air Force Ones, you want the Tiffany brand, you can go get them, right? You can get them, they'll be cheaper, whatever, so forth and so on. You'll put them side to side, they'll look the same.
Right.
They're made in the same factory.
Yeah, they are.
Right?
Absolutely.
So the question would be, if we know it's made in the same factory, then Nike must know.
Of course.
Okay. But what they're not trying to tell you is that they got two markets. They got the markets for the idiots that will pay all of it, pay full price. And then you got the other market for the people who don't want to pay full price.
Right. Because these big companies allow it to happen, and they get a cut of it. We allow you to bootleg it, you do your thing, but you gotta break us off.
You got to break us off. So what happens is, okay, they'll allow it to go on because now they can get the sales from the legitimate.
Right.
They can get the other one to have sales to promote the product.
Right.
That's what people don't really realize. Right. So now you get it for cheaper. You can get it for cheaper, but you're still promoting
it
to buy it.
Right.
This is the game. You know what I'm saying? And in the music business, when they were bootlegging before, if you think about it, when we were started way back in the day, like when I say way back, right? I said that like way
Yeah,
back. It's like damn, I should say it that way. But when we started, there were only a handful of companies that reproduce tapes,
yeah,
CDs, vinyl.
right,
Handful of companies, maybe like a half a dozen
right,
that you can go to. But every time you went on a New York street, you saw all these bootlegs,
yeah.
and they had it the same time the album dropped.
A week or two before.
How,
Week or
Sway?
two before.
Right. How, Sway? How did they, who had the infrastructure back then to produce that, mass produce it, and distribute it in the street that way? It had to be the label.
With artwork.
With the artwork color printed,
Yeah.
jewel boxed.
All of that.
Come on, bro. So what happened was that was another way to circumvent royalties, another way to circumvent auditing. Oh, you didn't really go gold. That was a way to do it. So it's the same thing happening now, but it's in the cloud. It's the same thing. It's you don't know. And even if we say how we gonna audit your server,
Shame.
oh, what you gonna do? Generate me a report? Oh, yeah, right. It's like,
We've been through that.
yeah, like what you gonna do? Like, you know what I'm saying?
Record label, send us record label, send us what you sold
What you
on
owe me.
record.
Yeah.
Send
Send me
it
a
to us.
statement of what you owe me.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I got you. I owe you $1. That's what I owe you. And come on, man. Like, come on, man. Like, you know what I'm saying? So people got to start thinking. Like, you got to start thinking about this thing and stop being idiots. Like, you got to start thinking. Like, listen, man. Like, listen, you got to use those machines, but you can't rely on those machines.
Right.
You use them to promote other situations. And I'm going to say it on the platform again, and I know this may not be the quote-unquote episode for that. If people made it 40 minutes through, thank you for making it so far through. But we haven't figured it out yet that music is supposed to be coupled with other products. Music is not to be sold by itself. If you really want to maximize your situation, it's supposed to be taken and it's supposed to be used as a vehicle to sell something else. It's supposed to sell another service, another product, another technology.
Yeah.
Something. Can't be.
For a long time, other companies have been doing it to us.
They're still doing it.
All of the major brands, whenever they want to reach our audience, they come over to us and say, "Hey, can you produce a song?" Hey,
Yep.
From movie soundtracks to food to beverages to clothing, you name it. They come to us. We make the song, whatever. We give it to them. They promote it with their product, and our whole culture goes running towards it.
Yep.
But what about us? We're so busy, the music. We need to bundle it with other things that we're doing. And hold on, and if you don't have your own platform or even your website that could collect this information, you're not going to know what the hell is going on. You're not going to know who's who. You're not going to know who your consumers are. So instead of just relying on these platforms, you have to make sure that you have your setup so that when things go down, things go wherever it needs to go, that you're set up. You got emails, phone numbers, you know who your customers are, you know what area they live, you know their age bracket. So you can say, you know what, I have another piece of product that I want to create. How can I create something specifically for my consumers? Have that relationship. So you know that, okay, I think because of this age bracket, I think my consumers would enjoy if I did this or I created this for them. And they'll appreciate you a whole lot more when you do that for them.
This is the game. And I think we have been preaching it for a lot of episodes, or we've been saying it for a while, that you have to pivot. And this is the new frontier. Like, you have to know how to get directly to your folks. As AI starts to fold itself into this situation, as social media platforms get banned, as social media platforms fall out of favor, you're going to have to find a creative way to make sure that you can stay in front of your audience and keep their attention.
Chuck, it's this simple. It's this simple. Everyone has to ask themselves the question, If social media falls apart today, will your business stand the test of time? Will your business still be here? Can you run your business without social media?
Mm.
Will you still be able to get in contact with your consumers?
For most, the answer will be no.
Yeah, yeah. And then what happens?
Yeah, for most, if not all, they will say it's no because social media has now become the new television.
Yeah. Anytime you go into a brick and mortar store, as you're doing your transaction, for the most part, they're asking for your email address.
In that
When,
area,
when you're doing checkout, they're asking for your email address, or they're confirming your email address, your phone number. In certain high end stores, that they have a little screen, and they ask you to type your information there.
yeah,
Get included in this newsletter, or discounts and this and that. They're collecting your email, so if God forbid anything, they know who to target. They know who their consumers are because you purchased an item, so
right.
you're a lead.
You're more likely to buy again.
Yeah, you're like
You know what I'm
exactly.
saying? Like you're the easiest person to convert. You've already bought.
You've already bought. You came into the store. You came from wherever you are, drove to public transportation, walked into the store, spent time, purchased the item. Yeah, yeah, I would say you're a consumer. Yeah, yeah. I need that guy's information.
I need
Yeah,
that guy's info.
yeah. I'm gonna have a
Yeah.
talk with him, see whatever else I can help him out with. Yeah,
And I'm going to cater an offer to him that he can't refuse.
yeah, yeah. I'm gonna make sure he's good. What
Yeah.
else you need? You need anything else? Can I make something for you? Can we create a beat specifically for you only?
Yeah.
Can we create a T-shirt or something for you, that to make you feel good? That you part of the team. What's up? Yeah,
This is the game, man. We're giving the people valuable jewels. I just don't know if folks are really realizing that. Listen, you gotta get out here. You gotta execute these plans. Like you gotta get it together, and you gotta make sure that you try to figure this situation out. Like you said, we don't know if it's gonna fail. We don't know if
no,
they're gonna ban it. There's a potential for it. Like we don't know.
we're not saying it will happen, but it can. It's happened before.
Yeah. And if it gets banned, I don't know what folks are gonna really. Folks are really. It's gonna be heavy because you're talking about half the country using it right now.
And there's a lot of people making a lot of money, and there's people who's left their job,
Yeah.
their 9 to 5 job, and
Yeah.
started they're relying
On TikTok.
on that TikTok income. And it'd be a damn shame if that thing goes down and they don't have a plan B and they're scrambling. What are they gonna do?
What if that is the plan?
There you go.
What if the plan is to get people to go back to the office?
Dun, dun, dun.
You know what I'm saying?
Too many entrepreneurs.
Too many entrepreneurs.
Too many.
Too many. We need you back into the system. Need you back in.
Yeah.
No more work from home for you.
Yeah. TikTok has allowed a lot of people to live their dreams.
That's right. They don't like that, and they can't control the narrative there either. I think that's the larger problem. Is the control that they had? They lost control of Twitter, right? For like, if you think it's a conspiracy theory, go look at the Twitter files and go look for yourself. That is, there was a control over Twitter that was, controlling the flow of information and who was sending it. So we know if that happened there, it happened to Alphabet and the rest. So I think TikTok was the only one that was kind of free. That they didn't control it as much or as bad. And the way that their algorithm worked, they had two sets of algorithms. They had the For You algorithm where you can get random stuff, and then you had the algorithm that if whoever you were following, you can just watch their feed. And then, of course, you can go live. So you had options of how you wanted to kind of consume the information. But I think they couldn't control it. I think that the being able to control the narrative of your country, I think that's probably what's the most, scared. They're scared for that. Like, we can't control it. But there's also a larger implication. The political party that votes most for its banning will probably lose indefinitely in terms of 2024 and beyond. So there's going to be political blowback. The folks have to realize that. So I think there's going to be economic blowback. I think there's political blowback. So if I really wanted to be a betting person, I don't think they would do it. I think at this point it might be too big to fail. But I've seen crazier shit happen. So in my brain, I'm like, they stupid enough to do it. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
So what? Get your online store
ready.
ready.
Yeah, ready. Because I think they're stupid enough to do it. Like, you know what I'm saying? And, you know, somebody was online the other day and they said, hey, before anybody runs for political office, they should have the responsibility of having a business and making payroll. Like, once you kind of have the understanding of what it is to have a business with employees and making payroll,
Right.
you won't make the decisions that you're making.
Right.
You know, your decisions will be a lot different, you know. So I think what we're looking at now, a lot of small businesses failing. It's going to be a situation where, I don't know, it'll look really bad to see 150 million people knocked out of something that quickly. So we'll see. We'll see where it goes, man. This is Arkatech Beatz Music Business Podcast, folks.
Yeah. You know,
All right. Like,
hopefully provided something that you can use, man, because, you know, things could happen very quickly. So hopefully we provided some information, some insight, or something just to get the wheel spinning, you know.
If you're not following us, make sure you're following us at arkatechbeats.com. And remember, we have the excuse me again on this thing here. This little thing is itching. But if you haven't already gotten the new books, if you haven't gotten the free ebook, which is the Songwriter's Guide to Song Registration, it's the essential steps to protect and monetize your music. This is a free ebook. It's going to introduce you to everything you need to do to monetize and to protect your music. And now for those who want to really start to learn the game, what we've done, we actually released 2 new books so they can empower your new music business. The first one is basically the Musician's Guide to Music Copyrights. We know that can be a little complex for some folks, so we try to make something that is a short read that will explain what copyrights are. It'll basically let you understand what kind of controls you have, what kind of situations you can do for remedies if somebody infringes on your copyright, etc. And then we also have the Ultimate Guide to Forming Your Own Music LLC. Having the right business structure is also key to make sure that you can collect all your royalties. And I think that's being left out into the cold. I don't think a lot of artists are paying attention to that simple fact that, hey, you have to have your LLC. Also, there are ways for you to be able to use your LLC to help you save on taxes, not financial advice, but you have to start running your music as a business. And I think too often we're not doing that. Those books are on sale at our website. Like, again, we've made them very short reads. We try to keep them, you know, under 100 pages. I know some folks will still be like 100 pages. It's still too much. But
come on, guys, gotta read, man.
Gotta read though, you know. So
read, man.
So we try to keep it under 100 pages, and you know, we have some more stuff that's going to be coming down the pipeline so that you can just kind of make sure that you're learning the music business. It's so important for you to know the music business so that you can basically make a career or live off of your art. Like, that is the main purpose of this channel, is to make it so that you can live off of your art.
So you're not doing it just for the love?
Nah. I want to do it for the love, but I've been getting some hate lately, you know what I'm saying? And so, you know, I got a little hate the other day, and I was like I can't understand it. Like, you know, the things that you're doing, and you're trying to level the playing field and trying to get people quality things and get people some things that they need to do, but they still just want more. even when you're doing, but they don't be realizing how much, your time really is. And I think that's really what the problem is. The problem is that folks have to be reminded of, how much is Arkatech Beatz time? It's not cheap.
And neither should yours. As a business person, neither should yours.
But even in the scheme of life, it's not cheap. Because you
Right.
can't get that time back.
Right.
So people have to realize, people have to respect that. And I don't see enough of that. People are not respecting people's time and effort. When someone is really trying to put some game together and help folks.
True.
Put you in a position.
It happens.
It happens. But
It happens.
we're
still gonna drop these jewels.
You're still gonna drop the jewels.
We're still gonna give y'all the heat. We're still gonna give y'all information. So don't worry about it. We got you.
So again, make sure you like, comment, follow, subscribe, share with a friend. But until next time,
Peace.
peace on up. A-Town? No, I'm New York City. Later.
Arkatech Beatz.